2 seconds.
Oh shit! I already clicked it, but it doesn't matter either. Yes, we are now live. What's up, everybody? Rob Vino's joining us too. I emailed him the link. Let's see if he messaged me. He says I'm in, but I don't see him. I don't see you here, I'll say. But all right, so there's 12 games on the board, and I did bet him a bunch of them. I think I have 5 bets down. I actually tailed Ski on a bet too, so I think I have a 6th bet down that I got from Ski. That being said, none of them are big bets. If you've been following along, you know that this has been a rough stretch. You know what? It made me feel better to hear that it seems like a lot of people are going through a rough stretch in the NBA right now, except for this motherfucker right here. Ski, the only person on YouTube's like, hey guys, another profitable day. So, like, I see a bunch of people on Twitter that I follow that are like going through a rough stretch. Makes me feel better. No, of course, Ski's on a heater. So yeah, we got Rob Vito joining us. We got 12 games to get through. Like I said, not a ton of huge bets for me, but there are spots I like, and we'll get into it. This first game is Golden State at Orlando, and all right, so I like the Warriors. Didn't bet it. If this was 2 weeks ago, when I felt like I was having 6 out of 7 winning nights a week. If it was 2 weeks ago, I'd be pulling the trigger on this because I do like the Warriors, and I like taking Golden State against teams that need to get to the rim because Golden State defensively, even when they're not playing well, they usually are able to keep people away from the basket, keep their opponents away. And Orlando's a team that needs to get to the rim, needs to get to the foul line. So I like that matchup. This is a defense that Orlando would struggle with. The problem is, like, you have to pump the brakes and be like, yo, what are we doing here? Like, Orlando as home favorites is practically automatic. So I couldn't actually bet it. I felt like it would have been a crazy decision to actually bet this. So I'm gonna put Golden State up for me because that's the way I want to. That's the way I want to get to, but I couldn't actually do it. Ski, do you have anything for this?
Well, if you look at it from like just spot perspective, the spot should absolutely be the Magic. Just because Warriors with unrested, third game in 4 nights, 4th and 6th, going up against a Magic team who has had 3 days rest. So I feel like that's a big advantage for them. But I'll say this, I typed it into the database and I'll tell you exactly what I typed in. It's a specific situation. Home favorites on 3 days rest versus an unrested non-conference opponent after All-Star break. 4 and 7 straight up, 3 and 8 against the spread. That says to fade the Magic today. And when I look at it outside of that, I mean, Warriors played a good game yesterday. It's still, they still need to win games. And not that the Magic don't either, but I do feel like the Warriors are the more desperate team. So at this point in the season, what I've been doing that's working well is playing on the teams that I feel like are going to be the most motivated. And I feel like the Warriors are just a little bit more motivated than the Magic tonight.
Okay. So you're leaning Golden State also. And yeah, something else I looked at, Ski just reminded me by bringing that up. So Golden State, I believe, was 7-4 against the spread on 0 days rest, something along those lines, slightly above 500. One of the better teams on 0 days rest. Okay, we'll take that. And in the same boat, Orlando coming into this game 3 full days rest. We know Orlando's been a beast against the spread this year, one of the best teams in the NBA. That being said, when 2 or more days rest, they're just 7-7 against the number. So they're actually, the Magic have actually been better against the spread when they're not rested. So look, I didn't pull the trigger on this. I'm not trying to sell you on a Warriors bet, but I think the Warriors win this game. So it's Golden State or pass for me. And like Ski said, at this point of the season, certain teams are going to be more motivated than others. See the Milwaukee Bucks in the second half for reference last night.
There you go.
Holy shit. That team did not come out of the tunnel. And dude, it went into halftime. I was like, I'm good. Flipping the channel. Like, they're the much better team. And they came out in halftime. And by the time the Bucks realized, like, shit, we got to get our shit together, the Lakers are coming back, it was too late. Lakers had all the momentum. So, yeah, butchered my bet there.
But you can still learn, though. Just like you said, you see that's what's happening right now. So we just got to adjust.
I find it harder to I find it harder to predict which team is going to be motivated, though. I don't know. You would think the Bucks. I don't know. I had a losing night. Screw it. 49%, 40% in favor of Orlando. So actually the community isn't overwhelmingly on the Magic as you would expect. Did Vino ever make it? No. Vino, let me see if he's sent me a message.
Yeah, sorry, my phone died, or else I'll try to help. And if I try to do it on my computer, it's gonna mess up whatever I got set up right here.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, I'm clicking on the link. Click.
Yeah, but I'll say this while you're doing that. Teams that I feel like have quit and are unmotivated in general: Hornets, Pistons, Raptors, and then just on a game-to-game basis, you just gotta look at the standings and see, who really needs what at the current moment.
Yeah, and you would think Warriors are a team that needs it. So, I mean, we got 12 games to get to. I think Vino had the wrong link, and I think I just gave him the right one. So I think he's about to join us. But let's move on to the second game. Brooklyn at Washington. And Ski, I was in and out on your show. I caught you talking about this game. This was a pass for you. I actually have a bet on this game.
All right.
I don't think I told Prop Beaver to make a graphic for it, so I probably don't have a graphic for this one. You didn't make Nets team total under, did you? All right, cool. So I don't have a graphic for it, so I'll just type it real quick. I am on Brooklyn team total under 112.5. Now, I got it at 14.5. This is another one where I got it last night. And look, I know a team total under against the Wizards seems crazy, but this Washington Wizards team is playing some defense. And I know it doesn't even make sense. What do you mean the Wizards are playing defense? Well, actually, in the last 3 games, super small sample size, 3 games, the Wizards are first in the NBA in defensive effective field goal percentage. They're third in overall defensive efficiency. They just played the Kings, the Bulls, and the Raptors. So there's the Raptors in there. But the Kings, Bulls, Raptors held them all to under 110 points. This is not the same. I watched a lot of that Bulls-Wizards game because I had the over, and I was watching it, rooting for the over in Bulls-Wizards, and I was like, this is not the same Wizards team. They're playing defense. They're not playing at the same pace. This Wizards team without Tyus Jones just looks different, and I kind of like the Wizards to win the game, but I thought that was a little crazy. So I figured either the full game total or Brooklyn team total under. You mean to tell me Sacramento got held to like 107, Chicago got held to 105, but the Nets are going to go to 115? Washington's just playing a different type of basketball right now, and I think I could capitalize it here on a team total where the market's kind of setting this team total based on the old Wizards. So the way the Wizards are playing, I like this. I think this is a low-scoring game, and if the Wizards blow it, if the Wizards don't win, I think it'll be because it'll be the offense that fails them. So that's what I went here.
Well, I'll say this. It scares me to death trying to do an under with the Wizards. But Wizards off of a win, the first half under is 69.2% this year. And the Nets first half under in general on the road is 24-12-1. I don't have a lot on this game. This is really a pass. I don't want to be involved with either one of these teams. And I personally don't feel strong on the total. So I just got to root you on. I try not to pass, but
I actually like this one. And I mean, I like it as much as I could like a bet in a Wizards Nets game at this point. I like it. We got Vino. Vino's in the building.
Maybe he can have hopefully he has something for this. Save us, Vino.
I want to see if he's noticed it. So I don't know if you caught it, but the Wizards are playing some defense recently. Last 3 games, some of the best defensive numbers in the NBA in the last 3 games. It's only 3 games. Let's not panic. But I think there's value on the the Brooklyn Nets team total under 112.5. I got it at 114.5.
Well, first off, let me apologize for being late here, guys. Technologically not as savvy as most. I'll start by saying I didn't play. I can understand the point of Washington playing some defense lately. I noticed the same thing myself, and Brooklyn hasn't been much in the way of scoring points. So the team total does seem a little bit high, Kyle, for sure. That being said, I could also add to it that I just don't know how interested Washington is, despite the fact that they won the other night. I don't know how interested they are in winning games.
They won 3 in a row.
Yeah, it makes me a little fearful, but they have won 3 in a row. 14 now compared to the 12 put up by the Pistons, puts them in second place. I can understand your line of thinking, but this is a game where basically I put the X through it. Didn't have much to do with it. So I don't know if I can help you or hinder you here. Have to just be like Ski and root for you.
I mean, I think 3 wins in a row. That means we can officially put in our pocket that, like, hey, the Wizards aren't scared to win games. 3 in a row. Maybe if 1, even 2, it's like, hey, you could win a game by accident. But I think 3 in a row, it's like, okay, the Wizards are playing, at least in my opinion. So I think the Wizards are playing some defense, and then the Nets on the road are trash. I'm on it. I'm already bought in. So I got a 114.5, even holding some CLV. But I was telling Ski before we went live, I had closing line value on 5 of my 6 bets last night and still went 2 and 4. So CLV is just getting me crushed recently. I don't even know if it means anything anymore.
I don't know if you've seen that CLV trash can, but
yeah.
There's a lot of tickets in there.
Yeah. The last 2 weeks for me, like, it's crazy. And I know you're not supposed to change anything about your process over like a 1 or 2 weeks bad, but it's definitely frustrating when you're in the middle of it. Next game, Cleveland, Charlotte, and this is one. Hopefully these guys have something for you. I don't even. I took a shot on the Hornets at +8 against the Hawks. I want to say that was 3-4 nights ago. Wasn't even close. Atlanta beat the shit out of Charlotte. This kind of feels like the same type of thing where it's like, hey, Cleveland doesn't look that great. Maybe I'll look at Charlotte, but I can't do it. I think I might be done. I think I might put betting the Hornets down for the season. We'll come back to you next season, Charlotte. I don't know if I couldn't do it. So I guess Cleveland are pass for me, but I'm not betting it. Either you guys?
well, I'll say I'm on Cleveland, and I just talked about teams that I feel like have quit or are tanking, however you want to call it. That's how I view this Hornets team. They've had they're 0-5 against the spread their last 5. I think all of them are losses by double digits. They're 37.9% against the spread as a double-digit dog this year, and it's their first game home off a 4-game road trip. That's a flat spot. So I get Cavaliers been playing a lot of games lately, but the last game they just played the Hornets, it wasn't taxing. They won by 23 points. And the game before that, they had already gave up. They were getting beat down, I believe, by Miami. So Cavaliers do have a lot to play for as far as standings wise. I wish I had it in front of me, but like I said, my phone died. So because of that, I just feel like these are two teams who are going in the opposite direction right now. Like one team's trying really hard, the other team not really caring at all. And when I feel like that, I roll with the team with the effort. So Cavs, full game, first half, however you want to play it, I think you cash both.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, Cavs usually, even without Mitchell, they're still able to get to the rim and score, and that's something Charlotte really hasn't been able to stop all year. Mr. Vino, would you be sweeping Cleveland with us here?
I would. Couple of extra reasons. Let me just say to Ski's point about standings and motivation. Cleveland sits as the 3 seed, but just a game and a half from the 5 seed. So obviously you have to win these games. They're ahead of the Knicks in 4, and they're ahead of Orlando in 5 right now. But I'm going to go to a quote that I read, guys, which leads me to believe that Cleveland, off of that big win against Charlotte, could repeat it tonight. This came from Evan Mobley, who basically was letting us know that the team is aware of their sense of urgency. He said, we had a bounce back game, and I felt like everyone felt good. We've got to play with that joy. We are aware of the sense of urgency. We're getting up to speed by the time we need to get up to speed by the time the playoffs begin. So it looks like a team that's starting to turn the key to the engine where, as both you guys mentioned, Charlotte just looks like a dead team in the water. So I could see Cleveland. It would be Cleveland or pass. There's no question. I don't think the points are enticing enough with Charlotte, especially the way that they got beat up by this team the other night. So again, I like these teams that at least express their sense of urgency to win games. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to win by 11, but I'd rather be on that side.
Yeah, same. I didn't bet this one. Ski, you actually sounds like you actually pulled the trigger on this one. You're on Cleveland.
First half and full game in my pocket.
There you go. So Ski's on there, and Ski's been hitting. So Cleveland in his pocket. Looks like me and Vino both leaning towards Cleveland. Let's move on to the. Oh, by the way, the chat in that one Let's get some results from the poll. Okay, so 64% of you said you would lay the points with Cleveland. 20% of you said pass. And then last place is Charlotte. 15% you said. So more people clicked pass than clicked on the Hornets in that one.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, right? I mean, makes sense. Clippers, Sixers, and trust me, when I tell you I wanted to be on Philly bad, but I mean, they just beat them. I don't know. I for one, don't like these home and homes. During the playoffs, I feel like you can embrace it. Be like, okay, we're playing the same team over and over again. Let's look at the series. Let's look at how these teams usually are. Let's find some areas of regression. But these home and homes during the season don't really do it for me. I did have Sixers plus 8.5 or plus 9 in the first one, so I cashed. I had Philly in the first one, but this is a pass for me. Sixers are pass. Either you guys have a move in this one?
I'll go first, Ski. I would have looked toward the under, Kyle, but they've taken a big piece of it now. I think the 4-point move toward the under. Now we're sitting at 215 when we had 219 to begin with, which I think was a far better number. For what it's worth, you watch Philadelphia, and I know they're shorthanded. They didn't even have Kelly Oubre the other night. But they're flying around on the defensive end. They don't shoot it real well. They don't do a lot of things real well on offense. But in the category of effort, you watch them play on that recent trip, and they're still playing hard on defensive end. I kind of, when I watched the Phoenix game, guys, I kind of chalked it up to Phoenix looking sluggish, kind of lazy. I wasn't giving the Sixers any credit for defense. And then I watched the Sacramento game, and I kind of chalked it up to Sacramento being sluggish and lazy. First game back off of a trip. But for Philadelphia, it was the fourth game of a 4-game Western swing, and it was back-to-backs. And they still were running around, at least on defense, trying to prevent Sacramento from scoring. Those two games I talked about, the Phoenix game landed 217. The Sacramento game landed 206. Both pretty low numbers. They both were unders. They played 3 unders on that recent road trip. It's their first game back home, which generally is a fade of the home team. It's James Harden's night back in Philadelphia here. There's been a lot of talk in this town about that tonight. I don't know that he's going to get the best of receptions. We'll see what happens there. But the only game they played that wasn't an under on that recent trip was the Clipper game, 121-107. And if I'm going to talk about teams that I thought looked sluggish and lazy, the Clippers don't look like they're interested in anything right now. And so it's hard to back them. But again, it's not good. I wouldn't back Philly first game back off of the road trip. I would have said, Kyle, early on, under was a good play. Now I just think there's too many points taken off of it to play it now.
Yeah, that's a super low total for this one. But yeah, I guess if it dropped 4 points, there was definitely value on in the beginning. And someone in the comments has said it, and Rob Vino mentioned it as well. Who the hell are the Clippers to be laying 6 points right now on the road? I mean, what I'm just looking at just straight up looking at their schedule. I mean, they beat the Bulls by 15. That was back on March 14th. But the 6 games since then, they're not beating anybody by margin. They got Portland by 8. There you go. But, like, I don't know. There's no way I could lay it with the Clippers. But I also, the fact that Philly just beat this team makes me hesitant to. I'll put Philly up for me, but this is not a bet for me. Ski, you got anything on this one?
Well, you guys have said a lot of things I agree with, and I'll just say absolutely not will I bet the Clippers minus anything the way they're playing basketball right now. They've covered, one of their last 6 games, the second worst defensive rated team. I mean, I say it all the time. If you can't get stops, how can I expect you to win by any kind of a margin? So because of that, I'll lean towards the Sixers plus the points.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this team, I think when I was looking the other day, the Clippers were like 28th in defensive rating over the last 10 games or something. Them and the Bulls, 2 teams whose defense just stopped playing basketball, apparently. Neither of them playing any defense, but Clippers specifically. Can't stop anyone for shit right now. Our poll, 54%, 32% in favor of the Clippers, though. So you guys, the viewers, you're laying the points with the Clips, and all I have to say to you is Godspeed in that. You will be on. I'll root for you because I don't have money on the Sixers, but You're seeing something I know to the Clippers.
Don't use this one for the community parlay.
Yeah, please don't please don't put the Clippers money line in the community parlay for all of our sakes. So let's move on to the next game. Portland at Atlanta, and I said in my Discord this morning, I was like, guys, I'm trying to bet Portland. What do you guys think? And like 5 messages immediately were like, we're not doing it. Don't do it. I think people have, and what I said about this game was, I think people have it in their heads that, because it was so recent, I hit the Hornets at +8 that night against Atlanta as one of my bigger bets that night, and obviously they lost by like 30. So here we are. I guess it looks like in a similar position in a sense that you're looking at the Hawks. You're saying, how are the Hawks laying 10.5 points? How do we not just take the other side? And they're thinking of that Hornets game where they weren't close. But I think this is slightly different. This Portland team is not the Hornets. The Hornets on the road are about as bad as it gets in the NBA. The Hornets on the road, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I mean, Ski probably has them. Hornets on the road are like one of the least profitable teams in the NBA. This Blazers team is covering on the road. I think they're 8-3 against the spread in their last 11 on the road. They've been competitive in these games. So I don't think taking Portland +10.5 here, even with the injuries, is quite as crazy as taking the Charlotte +8 against Atlanta. Not to mention, DeJounte Murray was questionable before. Let's see if we have an update on that. But
no update yet.
Nothing. So this Hawks team that's
I'm waiting.
If DeJounte Murray doesn't play, dude, shit, I might put a Portland money line bet. Who's on that team anymore if DeJounte Murray doesn't play? So I'll put for me, I will put Portland +10.5 off. But unfortunately, my wings were clipped on this one in the Discord. Like they were gonna riot if I put Portland +10.5 on the ticket today. They were like, absolutely not, we're not doing it. So this is where I want to go. And between me and you, I may privately bet this and not tell anybody. But I like Portland.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'll say this. I'm looking at DeJounte Murray's status for a different reason. It's for the total. I mean, neither team is playing defense. Both bottom 10 last 5 games. Both have gone over 5 of their last 6 games. And the Hawks, their offense is looking pretty good. It starts with DeJounte Murray. Like, they got back-to-back. I think they went over 4 games in a row. And they got back-to-back games with like 30-plus assists. So if Murray's not out there, I don't trust that to continue. But if he is, in combination with how Portland has looked on defense lately, I think this one can get up and over the number. So Murray gets rolled in, I'm looking to run to the window and bet the over.
Okay. I can see that. Let me get an over up on the screen for you here. Under over in front of Ski. And Mr. Vino, anything on this one?
Well, I thoroughly agree with what Ski was saying. I'd look to play the over in this one. No surprise there that I'm looking to play an over. But to the point that Ski was making about 30-plus assists, Quinn Snyder, I'll read you what he said. Basically, he said, unselfish play is what fueled the rally against Boston. For anybody who watched it, that was a miracle and a half that they won that game. But they did, and they played hard to do so. To continue on with Quinn Snyder, I think we're learning to play that way. It's not easy. We've been putting the time in, even on the road. Our guys have been working on the little things that don't always translate to the game. They're running harder, not getting caught in purgatory on the transition end. But the biggest thing is our guys are focused on each other, asking, what can I do for my teammate? Hey, you probably haven't heard that about the Atlanta Hawks in a long, long time. And sharing the basketball probably helps when everybody's happy. To the other point Ski was making about Atlanta playing overs, Portland has played overs as well. You got 2 teams playing nothing but overs right now. 2 teams that are giving up over 50% field goal percentage to the other side, basically 80% of the time the last couple of weeks. So I do think over is the right side here. I think both offenses are probably ahead of the defenses at this point in time. But you do want DeJounte Murray. He was obviously clutch and key the other night. Without him, it's a little bit different for the Hawks. But I would lean toward over. Go ahead.
Let me ask you something, though. And I should have mentioned this before. Does it worry you guys the spot for the Hawks? They just had that 30-point comeback, beat the Celtics. Then they have this game against a bad Western Conference team. They have the Celtics again tomorrow. So this is a weird sandwich. Not that the Hawks are in a position in their season where, like, oh, we're looking ahead to that Boston game. But after coming back from 30 points and beating them, I bet you they're looking forward to – I bet you they think they can beat them again. I bet you, like, confidence-wise. So this might – I think it's a little bit of a look-ahead spot. I don't know. I'm talking myself into Portland here.
Kyle.
I wouldn't call it a look-ahead
Kyle.
spot. What I would say is, like, it takes a lot of energy to make those kind of a comeback. So I usually do like to fade teams after they make a big comeback and win the next game.
And then they have Boston again tomorrow. Again. So
you know what's going to happen tomorrow? They're going to get their ass beat because
Yeah.
after the game, Boston, as good as their record is, you wouldn't think they have a care in the world. They actually cared about that loss. Saw a couple of guys step up to the podium and just not real happy with the outcome there. So for Atlanta, win tonight and avoid tomorrow. But to your point, Kyle, of coming back from the 30 points down, I had that same thought in my mind this morning. But to me, after I read Snyder's quote, the after effect probably is on Atlanta's defense more than offense. You know, these guys care about scoring. And if they're sharing the basketball and they're scoring points, that's always good for players. It's the other end of the floor that they let go of the rope on. And I just would assume if they're a little bit fatigued off of making that big run against Boston, that perhaps the defensive side is where it shows up here. So I still like over. But again, I really want Murray in the game because he's the big piece.
yeah, without DeJounte Murray, that changes things. So, yeah, I'm strongly considering Portland, a private bet that I don't tell anyone about. But it looks like oh, wow. Okay, so our community is leading Portland, 49%, 28%. So you guys, maybe you guys want to get involved here in Portland. I think it's enticing here, Portland plus 10.5. Let's move on to the next one. Knicks at Raptors, and I do have a bet on this one, but would either of you guys like to go first? I'm assuming this might be a pass game for at least one of you guys.
I could quote you here, Ski. It would be hell no with the Raptors.
Yes.
I'll tell you that.
Yes.
I mean, you could take it from there. I mean, the Knicks give you effort every single night. This other team, I think, you know, their fishing poles or boats or whatever it is that they golf clubs, they can't wait for the season to end at this point in time. So yeah, it would be Knicks or nothing for me. I mean, it's really that simple at this point in time.
Well, actually, my bet is a bet that I stole from Chris and Ronald are the ones that have been betting this and cashing. That Raptors team total under is a gold mine. And I got it at 99.5. Do I have a graphic made? I might not. I forgot to tell Proppy. I got it at 99.5. Man, the Knicks are letting up like 70 points a game. So I don't know if it's still there. I got it at 99.5 personally and posted it on the site at 99.5. So I'm on the Raps team total under. I can't fully take credit for it. Because the ones who've been bringing that to my attention are the ones coming on the show, Ronald and Chris B. They've been playing that, and so it's been working for them. So I took a swing. I'm bought in on this. I took the Raps team total under 9. I think I paid minus 120 juice for it, if I'm remembering correctly, but I do have it.
Well, that makes sense to me. I mean, Raptors are the absolute worst offensive rated team in the last 5 games. Knicks are a top 5 defensive rated team. Knicks likes to play slow. I mean, everything lines up. All the numbers line up for unders in this game. And if it's one team having trouble scoring the points, I absolutely think it's Toronto. So, like Rob said, hell no, nothing Toronto for me, unless you're betting that team total under. I think you should bet the Knicks first half, too. I just think, just like we see the Pistons, the game starts for one team, and then the game starts for the other team like 12, 15 minutes later. So, Knicks first half or Raptors team total under.
And in case people are new viewers, these comments, Drake is not performing at halftime. That's a running joke. It's not real. It's not real. It's not Drake night. Drake's not performing at halftime. Man, they got us once. They'll never get me again with that. I looked like a moron. I was like, oh, shit, it's Jay-Z night? Like, I didn't know. Never again. Next up, Lakers at Grizzlies. All right, Ski. This is the one I tailed you on. I thought you were gonna.
Now because.
Well, I tailed you on the over.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was this was where I was in and out on your show because I was doing some stuff, and I tuned in, and you were about to do the Lakers, and I was like, before I leave, I'll stick around for a second to hear what he's about to say. And what you said about the Lakers, if Anthony Davis doesn't play, and the over makes perfect sense at 223.5. With LeBron leading the team, we're just going to see fast break after fast break. The Lakers also allow a lot of fast breaks. It's going to be a fast-paced game, and this number feels low. So I grabbed it at 223.5, hoping that Anthony Davis doesn't play. But after playing 52 minutes, you would think he doesn't play, right? I mean, if he plays,
he's been an Iron Man, but damn, 50 minutes, come on.
50, yeah, that's crazy. So I'll put over up for me, and I am holding the ticket. I actually didn't post this on the site because I bet it after. I posted on the site, and then this is just strictly me tailing Ski. I thought he made a great point. So, yeah, I'm on the over, and I don't remember if you said you're actually betting this or that was your lean, though, Ski.
I did bet it, and for what you said about, for the past few years, whenever Anthony Davis has been out the lineup, the Lakers cannot protect the rim. The defense is not going to be there, and a lot of why they've been playing good anyway has just been the offense for the past little bit over a month. They're running plays, etc., and they're having success with them. You look at the Memphis team, they've gotten a little healthier as far as getting some guys who can score the ball back. And both teams top 10 in pace last 5 games, over 4 the last 5 for the Lakers, over 5 the last 6 for Memphis. I just think we see, especially after the double overtime, I just don't think the Lakers are that interested in playing defense. And like we mentioned, if AD's not there to save the guys on the back end, it's going to be a layup fest. So over, and I also probably like a lot of other people, LeBron over his points tonight. If the Lakers are going to win, if the game is going to go over, I feel like it has to be with LeBron with the fresh legs. So LeBron over 25.5 points. I'll say like this. I looked at LeBron after he missed the last game, but I excluded the first time because it took him it took him a long time to get into a rhythm this season. And I excluded the first game after the All-Star break just because, he missed the game before the All-Star break, and I didn't want to include the one after he's been off for so many days. So he's averaging 28 points per game after he misses a game. I think LeBron does the heavy lifting tonight. LeBron points over, full game over.
Yeah, that makes sense. LeBron over, coming in with fresh legs in a fast-paced game with possible no Anthony Davis. I mean, it reeks of a LeBron game. And his line sitting at 25.5 feels like the odds makers are feeling the same way. So I like that. What about Rob Vino?
Well, let's make it a sweep, guys, because I played it early, but I played it halfway for a different, not to sweep the LA reason under the rug and Anthony Davis, because I'm in on that, but I'm also in on Desmond Bane in the lineup for Memphis. Last 5 games, he's played 4 of them. 1 he took off. The 4 games he's played have all gone over this total. They've all gone over 231, and we're looking at 223.5, including the game against Denver most recently. So for Memphis, defense has been abandoned, and Desmond Bane brings scoring back. He and Jaren Jackson Jr. together do a little bit of scoring. So I noticed the trend in their overs with Bane. It's cashed a couple tickets for me already. I think we stay on this proactive train. And then it's how do you bet the Lakers any other way but over? Currently 10-3 over the total. I know last night needed double overtime help, but they're still 10-3 over the total last 13. The fact that LeBron should be the head of the attack tonight rather than AD, I too think he's going to rest. Means just a faster paced game. And again, back-to-backs off of last night for the Lakers. If there's a deficiency, I think it shows up on the defensive end rather than the offensive end. So, especially when you're playing this type of opponent that hasn't played any defense recently. So for me, I thought the number was light, guys. I thought it would be about 229. It wasn't. It was down around 223. And I think Memphis, for what it's worth, and again, I talked about being proactive with them and Bane. I think that when odds makers throw these numbers together, they're just based on season-long numbers. And inside that season-long is this small subset of Desmond Bane, who has obviously picked the scoring up. So until they catch on, I'm on that particular train, Memphis over. So give it to me too. I like it.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, UCapper Ronald in the comments said Lakers are 0-3 straight up and against the spread without Anthony Davis, but with LeBron James on the floor. Opponents 3-0.
And they lost to bums.
Yeah,
I know them all. Rockets.
I bet you do.
Spurs, Hawks, probably. I think too. Yeah,
I had. Oh, it might have been. Was it the Nets loss? I had the Nets money line in that one. That was a beautiful one. So yeah, Ronald coming in feels the same way. Looks like everyone is leaning towards the over here. We're an over program in this game. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Houston, and this line has changed because right after I made these graphics, SGA ruled out. So there's no SGA. And I think this line is down to 4 now, Ski? 4.5?
4.5.
Mr. Vino, do you want to lead us off on this one?
Yeah, it kind of, I did an NBA show this morning, guys, before the injuries were announced. And, hey, head coach Mark Daigneault, he alluded to it, that SGA was banged up and that they were monitoring it. He played 38 minutes last night. I didn't exactly know how to interpret what monitoring it meant, considering the fact that they're still trying to hunt down Denver for the number 1 seed, which is extremely important to obviously both, because Denver's come out like a house of fire after the All-Star break, and OKC trying to chase them down. But you played that tough game against New Orleans last night. I didn't really know what to make of SGA. I thought it might mean just a limited minutes role tonight, maybe somewhere in the mid-20s, but it looks like no minutes at all for him. My initial lean here, guys, and I had to pull back, was OKC first half, minus the 3.5 against the Houston Rockets. And their first half numbers were absolutely insane. I'm trying to pull them here for you guys. And let me just say that back-to-backs don't affect the OKC Thunder. But when we're talking about first half against the spread at home, Oklahoma City 21-14, tied for 4th best record in the NBA. Houston Rockets, the exact opposite. First half away from home. And Houston's numbers, as far as technical trends are concerned, there's a blatant difference between home and away. On the road first half this year, they're 10-23 against the spread. Second worst first half team in the league. For Oklahoma City, just really quick, guys. Home against the spread, they're winning by 11.4 a game. Home favorites, they're winning by 14.4 per game. In back-to-back situations, they're winning by 16 a game. And in back-to-back with travel from road to home, they're beating teams 122.3 to 99, plus 23.3 points per game. So, I mean, the back-to-back hasn't affected them at all. Again, those are all numbers, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who we won't see tonight. So it'll be interesting to see if Josh Giddey can keep up the hot streak. He's been playing very, very well. It's not like they don't have extra horses, because they do go 9 deep with a lot of athleticism. The problem is that your main guy that takes the majority of your shots isn't on the floor. And it was interesting just reading what Daigneault had to say about Gilgeous-Alexander. And he said that was why you would notice that he wasn't going to the free throw line as much. He's hurt. He's not going to the rim as much because he is hurt. So maybe they need to give him a night of rest. Houston's on this great streak at this point in time, trying to hunt down Golden State. So you got 2 teams motivated. But I thought first half was going to be a real good play for OKC, and maybe still is because the price is reduced. And Houston seems to be a team that doesn't get going early. So I'll stick that way, Kyle. I'll say Oklahoma City first half.
Oklahoma City first half. Ski?
I would agree. If you like the Thunder, you should take them early. More the game goes on, it should favor the Rockets. It is a lot to not like about OKC here. I'll start with that and just say, they played yesterday, 3rd game of 4 nights, 4th and 6, first game home after a 3-game road trip. No SGA. They played only, I think, 1 game without SGA. I believe it was versus the Warriors, and they did not win. So I don't really have the sample size I want to know what to expect out of the rest of these guys from the Thunder. As good as the Rockets have been playing, I still remember that they've been a very poor road team. And I'm going to be honest. This is what I'll say. It might sound crazy, but it's how I feel. If SGA was in, I would like the Rockets more because we would be getting a better number, and he's banged up right now. But now that SGA's been ruled out, we're getting less value on the number, and everybody is running to the window to bet the Rockets because of it. And I personally, I'm not the big public sharp guy, but one thing I don't like is a public dog. So I think this is when I have to stay on the sideline. I don't think I can bet the Rockets. I'll roll with Vino and say Thunder first half is probably the better look. I'll ask Prop Beaver for if he's gonna give me the death stare or a good nod this time.
You got a prop?
Yeah, let's see. What does he think about Jalen Williams over points plus rebounds, something like that? Because he should have a lot more responsibilities and minutes tonight without Gilgeous-Alexander.
Prop Beaver, Jalen Williams on the Thunder, points and rebounds over?
Points plus assists.
What's supposed to say? So you didn't look at that? Probably was in MLB mode, man. I don't think he looked at it. He gave me this look.
I don't care. Baseball starts tomorrow.
Yep.
What are you talking to me for?
Yeah, Proppy was just getting ready for the live show tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. MLB show. So I like what Ski said at the end there, where he said, with SGA out, if just SGA was playing, he would lean towards Houston, because that's what I did. And I am holding – I got so lucky with this one. I bet this game, posted on the website, and then 15 minutes later, SGA was ruled out. So I'm holding Houston plus 7.5. So I not only did I get the 7, I got the 7.5. But like Ski said, now that this number dropped 3 full points, everyone's going to float over to the Houston side. I actually think if you put a gun to my head right now at 4.5, I might take Oklahoma City, but it's probably just a pass. Maybe the over I know without SGA, you would think Oklahoma City would play a slower pace, but I don't know. Giddey pushes the tempo too, man, and he's probably going to have a high usage rate. He's probably going to have the ball in his hands a lot. So I think the over would be a look too, but I'm holding Rockets plus 7.5. Don't even necessarily love it, but I'm holding 3 points of value. So usually it's a decent spot to be in. The last couple of weeks, it certainly hasn't been. Our poll is slightly leaning towards Houston. 48%, 42% in favor of the Rockets. All right, next game. Detroit at Minnesota. I don't even have a word to say. No interest. So I'll run a poll. If you guys want to say something, you have the floor. But when I said I didn't look at a single thing, I literally looked at it and went, the next one.
Yeah, this is absolutely garbage. I already said earlier, Pistons are a team I am 100%, 1,000% not putting a cent on. They have either quit or tanking, whatever it is. It's their third game in 4 nights, 4th and 6. Not playing good basketball versus a well-rested Timberwolves team. It's Timberwolves or pass.
Yeah, same. Minnesota or pass. Vino?
I tried to narrow it down, guys, to maybe just play in Minnesota team total. It was 114 and a half, 115 and a half. Let me just get the correct number on that real quick. It's a 115 and a half right now. And I still could get there with that just because Detroit's been so lousy defensively. Obviously, the problem you have is if they're up huge, fourth quarter, guys get pulled. But Minnesota's a team that still scores a little bit with their depth. So I'm not so sure that would be discouraging to me, having Minnesota pull Anthony Edwards. Maybe if you pull Gobert, it's even better for the other side to have an opportunity to score. So I think team total, Kyle, is where I'll lean in this game. Minnesota over 115 and a half.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll put it up. Minnesota team total over 115. It's an estimation of where it's at. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like any of us are thrilled to throw money down on this game though. Let's end that poll quickly. 46% of you said Minnesota, 28% of you said pass. Actually, 25% of you said you would bet the Pistons. So there are some freaks out there watching that are down to bet Detroit. God bless you.
Yeah. Glutton for punishment.
Yeah, right. All right, Pacers at Bulls. And this was a tough one for me because, you know what? I'll let Ski go first because I actually think he bet this game. And Ski, I think we're on the same side here, by the way. You're on Chicago,
I didn't
right?
bet it.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why I ended up laying off right now. I do believe it is a Chicago Bulls spot. But the more I thought, and this is a Chicago Bulls spot because the Pacers, they've been playing like every single night. It's their 4th game in 6 nights. They just won a game they were not supposed to win. So I feel like this is a letdown spot. And they've been all on the road. Like they were all on the West Coast and now they travel back to the East Coast for the 5th straight road game. I just think it's a Bulls spot because of that. It's a fade Pacer spot. But the Bulls haven't been playing good basketball. And they're not really in desperation. Like, they're not in danger of falling out the play-in. I don't really think they can catch the 9th seed or the 8th seed. So I don't really want to be betting on them. That's just kind of how I went to it. The Pacers, I think they're the more motivated team, even though it's not the Pacers spot. They can move up, they can move down, and there's a lot of teams around them. So because of that, I stayed off of the Bulls, who I initially liked.
I did place it. I'm in on Chicago. I got a +3 on Caesars at -105, and that was probably like an hour and a half ago. So not sure if you could still get that. But yeah, I'm in on Bulls +3. Couple things I like for the Bulls. Number one, like Ski said, it's a beautiful spot to bet the Bulls. Pacers been traveling all over the place. They played like 100 games in 4 nights. Like, no, they're tired. They played a ton of games. Meanwhile, you got Chicago at home coming off an embarrassing loss. They lost outright to the Wizards. I believe that was at home in front of their home fans too. Yes, it was. So they didn't have to travel or anything. They just got embarrassed at home in front of their fans. So at home coming off that, it's a perfect spot to bet the Bulls. This is a spot where if you bet a team in this spot, you will turn a profit over time. I promise. That being said, there are the matchup-wise, I don't really love it on paper for the Bulls. The Pacers attack the rim a lot. Bulls just can't seem to stop anybody anymore. There's a lot I like for the Pacers, but spot-wise, I played the Bulls because it's a Bulls spot. If the Pacers just ride this hot streak and take this one, I won't be overly surprised. That's why it's a smaller bet. None of my bets are huge tonight because I've been losing the last couple of weeks. We're looking like I'm gonna have my second straight losing week. Well, that's the week's not over yet, but it might be. So yeah, I'm playing it safe here. I put a conservative amount on Bulls +3. Vino.
Well, I had interest, then I had no interest, guys. And the reason why the interest went away was exactly what both of you guys were talking about with the spot. The spot screams Chicago. But the recent play of the Bulls doesn't thrill me to run to the window and bet them either. 2-7 against the spread, 3-6 straight up. There's a couple of bad losses in there. You mentioned the one, Kyle, but there's a couple additional point spread losses in there that aren't great for the Bulls. Indiana seems to be playing extremely good right now. But again, how many nights can you throw these guys through the grinder? Now, it was mentioned by one of you guys earlier that the Bulls 28th in defensive rating over the course of, recent times. Their defense has gone goodbye. And, the Pacers are not a team that you want to play with no defense, regardless of how often they've played recently. So I looked at over. This thing jumped all the way to 235. I'm a little bit nervous to go over 235, although Indiana, I've had their team total the last 2 nights, and it's been a no-sweat job. Or the last 2 games, excuse me. They have gone way over their team total. They seem to be getting back into offensive form. Again, the one thing that scared me here was spot. Otherwise, I would have been on Indiana and probably total in multiple ways. But instead, I'm sitting here with nothing on this game. I could see any outcome happening here. But I just can't trust Chicago enough to make the spot a play in this one.
Someone just says it's Kanye night. So yeah, I considered the over also, by the way. What got me a little worried there was Pacers road unders it's like insane. I think they're like 20-4 to the under in their last 24 on the road. Even though I agree the matchup should be an over. But the combination of Pacers road under that trend and the fact that I just took a loss taking a Bulls over against the Wizards and the Wizards clamped this team. I don't know. I'll stick with Bulls +3 because it's a really nice spot for the Bulls, but we'll see. Like both these guys said, the Bulls look like absolute shit. Next game, Spurs Jazz, and I wanted to get there, man. I like the Jazz at 2.5, and I should have grabbed it. But I didn't. So here I am sitting with nothing on this game. It is now up to 4. And I do think the Jazz are the side, but couldn't get there. Either of you guys have a look you like in this one?
I'll be very quick and just say this is a game that I'm pretty much not interested in. I always say I can't lay with teams who are not playing defense, and Jazz, the absolute worst defensive rated team last 5 games. So as good as they've been as a favorite, as good as they played at home, I just can't do it. I'll lean towards the Spurs.
Ski, can I hear me out? And look, I'm not trying to sell you on the Jazz. I didn't bet it myself. But I'm going to pull up on the screen. Yes, the Utah Jazz defense is terrible. Look at who they played recently. Dallas, at Houston, a red-hot Houston, at Dallas, at Oklahoma City, Minnesota. Then they had Atlanta, okay. Boston, at Denver. They played the strongest schedule in the NBA in the last 10. This team has been through the grinder. So I'm not saying the Jazz defense is good. I'm just saying a lot of defenses would look like shit recently if they played that schedule. I think it's a buy low spot for Utah. Finally, a winnable game at home. Look at this. Can you guys see my – you know what? I'll bring this up. I'm going to pull up the Jazz recent schedule because – and I don't know why I'm trying to sell you guys on Jazz. I didn't even bet it, but it's like I want you guys to think the Jazz are the right side here because I just want to show you guys this really quick. Here we go. So here's the Jazz recent schedule. Look at these teams here. You got Dallas at Houston, at Dallas, at Oklahoma City, Minnesota. They finally get a winnable game at home. Look at March 15th, the last time they had a winnable game at home, Atlanta. They won. They handled it. So I just feel like this is an all-time buy low spot on the Jazz. I'll put Jazz up for me, but I didn't actually bet it. Let's see what the poll thinks. Vito, you have anything?
I do. I did bet the game, guys, and it stays in line with something I've bet for the majority of the year, at least since the 1st of January, which is Jazz team total at home over. They just score at home, Kyle, regardless of what they give up, and they do give it up in bunches. But the number tonight is 116.5. The total took a dip because Wembanyama's questionable. So you try to take advantage of that right away because he's got nothing to do really for me how much the Jazz will score in this game. I know he can block some shots, but other than that, should be kind of an up and down game. San Antonio's offense has disappeared a little bit as of late, but the Jazz at home averaging 121.1 points per game on the season. And so you don't even have to go through a list of opposition at home. You know, at this point in the season, they played some really good teams. They played some really piss poor teams. But 16.5 to me just looked too low. The Spurs defense hasn't been great consistently at all, especially recently. And then I just went back to the last game they played here in Utah, which wasn't eons ago. It was fairly recent, I think within a month, maybe 5 weeks. But it was 128-109 Jazz. And that just 128 to me is very, very possible tonight. I only need 117 to cash the bet. So it was a pretty easy call for me, guys. One of the first bets I made today, Jazz. And again, the benefit is that the game total dropped, which in turn dropped the Jazz team total, which it's got nothing to do with the Jazz team total, really, with Wembanyama. So I'm on that. I'm on Utah team total over 116.5.
So I got a bunch of people saying I sold them on the Jazz. Guys, I didn't bet it. So I'm not trying to sell you on it. I didn't even bet it. And someone said it's John Stockton night. I can assure you, TWD, I can assure you it is not Karl Malone night, though. I can assure you it's not. He said it's Karl Malone night. I can assure you it's not that. It's 47%, 35% in favor of the Jazz. So, community, they were picking up what I was putting down, man. They're feeling this Jazz buy low spot. I'm telling you. All right. Next up, last game. Phoenix at Denver. Another game where I got closing line value, and another game that I'll probably lose with closing line value. I'm only going to talk for a couple seconds here, and then I'll see what you guys like. I got Denver at 6.5. I know there's some injury question marks, specifically Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. To me, the bet was based on Denver's attacking the rim a lot, and Phoenix has struggled with teams that attack the rim. Denver just completely switched their offense up recently. They've been coming for the basket, so there's that. But also, the Suns just came into Denver and beat these guys on their home court. They're not no way. I just can't see Denver taking this game lightly at all against the team. Ooh, let me get the poll up on the screen. Against the team that beat them, embarrassed them. Well, I don't want to say embarrassed. The Nuggets weren't embarrassed, but they lost at home to this team. So yeah, I'm on the Nuggets here. I got it at 6.5. I'd still play it at 7.5 though. I think they win by double digits. What about you guys?
I'll chop it in half. I'll go with the Nuggets first half. You mentioned it. They lost by 10 to these guys not long ago. I think it's a situation for them to come and send a message back to them. You have Bill and Nurkic both did not practice yesterday, so interesting to see who will be in the lineup, who will not, or both will make it. But it just comes down to it's two teams I'm not betting against right now, for one. And the Nuggets are absolutely one of them. 8-1-1 against the spread their last 10 first halves. So I think they jump on them early, and then you just cruise to the finish line. So Nuggets first half -3.5 for this better.
And specifically in this Suns game, I believe the Nuggets were up pretty handedly at halftime too, and then the Suns came back and won in the second half. I'm pretty sure, because I actually remember I had this weird bet down. I had Denver money line parlayed with the under. So some shit we built in the Discord fucking around, and Denver blew it at the end, and the under ended up hitting. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the case in this last game. Vino, do you agree that Nuggets are the side?
I do agree that they're the side. I like what they've done. You know, it's interesting, Kyle, because when you talk about Nuggets, and I talk about totals a lot, but when you talk about Nuggets totals, the first thing that's always brought up is how slow they play. But regardless of how slow they play, they score points. I mean, there's not a more efficient offense in this league. Just take, for instance, the last 4 games that they've played have all gone over the total. One of them was against Minnesota, regarded as possibly the best defensive team in the NBA. They still got the game over. Another one was against the Knicks. Another, regarded as one of the top 5 defensive teams in the NBA, still got them over the number. Portland, who can't score a lick, got them over the total. And then Memphis, 128-103, hit 231 in their most recent game. The offense has come to play no matter what. I don't trust Phoenix's defense whatsoever. And so it would put me on the Nuggets with the revenge factor added in. And again, what I said earlier about them, I mean, it's crazy, but you find out that, Jokic sent all his teammates that text at All-Star break, said second half is a go for us. Let's go. They were comfortable last year. At this point in time, they were so far ahead. They were blowing games because they didn't care. And it's the exact opposite this year. When they want to win, they win. I'm somewhat worried about Michael Porter Jr. with Jonte being under investigation. It's a very close-knit family. My son actually covered Michael Porter Jr. in high school when he went to Mizzou. So the family's really close, but I don't think MPJ is affected at all by his brother throwing some prop bet.
Allegedly,
right. So yeah, I think Denver's probably the side. All that being said, guys, I didn't play it, and the Denver total at 117 for a team total is a possibility. The game total is a possibility because Phoenix's defense probably, and if Nurkic doesn't go, maybe even more than probably gives up 120 in this game.
Yeah, and we definitely should mention that. So let me check to make sure it hasn't updated since we went live. But so in this game, the injury report is significant. Where the heck is it? Oh, all right. Bradley Beal questionable. Nurkic questionable. That's on the Phoenix side. On the Denver side, Jamal Murray questionable. Aaron Gordon questionable. Porter and Jokic are on the report, but they're listed as probable. So there's two key names on each side listed as questionable. That's why when it comes to stuff like that, that's why I grabbed the Nuggets at 7.5, because obviously the injuries reports are going to update and everything's going to shake up. And I feel like I would like my odds on Denver -6.5 on more than 50% of the possible outcomes. Like, okay, if Beal's out, but Murray's out, but Gordon's in, okay, I'll take the 6.5. There's not many outcomes that the only thing that I wouldn't like the 6.5 is if Beal and Nurkic play and Murray and Gordon don't. And I just feel like the odds of that happening were slim. So yeah, I'm on Denver. Some more CLV that I'll lose with, probably. God damn it. All right, so let's talk community parlay. No Ronald here to mess up the juju.
Yeah, man. We good money today.
And you know what's funny? So Ronald texted me, dude, he's such a jinx on the community parlay, bro. So he texted me during the Kings Mavericks game and goes, this is yesterday's community parlay on the screen. He texted me during the Kings Mavericks game and goes, bro, we got the parlay as long as Dallas wins. And I was like, really? I was like, bro, what are you talking about? We had the Bucks. What are you I hope he's in the comments right now. All right, so let's do the community parlay. Ronald's in here messing up your hit rate, Ski.
Yeah, I told you it's not on me yesterday if we lost.
It's 100% on you, Capper. All right, so you know what's crazy is we say that joking around. There's people here that probably believe it. That are like, yeah, get him off.
No, I'm just kidding, man.
Yeah. So Magic, our community voted for the Magic. They voted for the Nets. Cavs, Hornets. They voted for the Cavs, but it's over 10. So we'll do Cavs -10.5. And Clippers, Sixers, they voted Clippers. They actually really like the Clippers, this community. And we urged you not to put the Clippers in the community parlay. but it's not the Kyle, Ski, and Vino parlay. It's the community parlay. So you guys pick. So someone said Sauce flopped hard on the Kings last night. All right. So let's get one thing straight. We both like the under. We went head to head to make it fun, but both of our picks in that game was the under. But yeah, okay. I took a loss. It's all right.
We both made money on that game.
Yeah, well, sure we did. Let's just say we did. I didn't live bet the Kings or anything. So when that guy tweeted, remember, I don't know if you,
hilarious.
Yeah, the guy tweeted, it was like, what do you think of the Kings now? And it was a 21-point game in the third quarter, which obviously looks pretty handedly. But if you've been watching the NBA, that ain't shit. Like,
right.
And he tweeted
Somebody said, now I got to cash out.
Yeah, I went and live bet the Kings money line at that moment. I was like, and confidently, I was like, oh, I'm good. Like, I am good. Magic money line is the first leg. I like Golden State, but I didn't bet it, so I don't mind rooting for the Magic for you guys. Cavs minus 10.5 is second place. So the good news is Clippers money line will definitely not be in the community parlay. Next up,
man.
Yep. Blazers plus 10.5 is going to get a chance to get in there because you guys voted for it. Knicks, Raptors. They did vote Knicks. Lakers, Grizzlies. I can't remember what they voted here. I would imagine they voted Lakers. I doubt there's more than 50% of you clicking on Grizzlies. And you guys voted Rockets. I remember you guys did vote Rockets. The Rockets slightly won that poll. So, cast your votes for leg number 2. No, I know. Someone said, Sauce, don't worry about the loss. Dude, we're playing around. Like, it's just fun to go head to head. We're not like really...
Yeah. I gotta make a championship belt though.
I got one already. I made one expecting I was going to slide it over on the screen from you to me. But then I lost and I was like, delete. We don't even have a game where we really are head to head tonight though.
No.
Unless you like Orlando, you want to? I don't know if I want to even do that.
I'd go to state if I'm playing.
That's right. That's right. Nah, there wasn't anything. Nah, I'm not taking the Grizzlies. What about you? Want to take the Nets? It's disgusting. No, I don't. Yeah, nah. Let's wait until the next one when we get a good head-to-head.
Sounds good.
Nets Wizards just doesn't need to be on my television tonight.
Yeah.
Actually, I got Nets team total under, so I probably will put it on. Lakers money line makes it. You guys are risk takers, taking those Lakers. 0-3 straight up without Anthony Davis and with LeBron.
Settle down.
I'm just reading off a stat. That's all I'm doing. All right, so the last 4 games are T-Wolves minus 15.5. Ugh. Pacers, Bulls. They voted Pacers. Spurs, Jazz. They voted Jazz. Okay. And then Suns, Nuggets. Oh, they definitely voted Nuggets. And I can almost guarantee you Nuggets money line is going to win that. Because like 85% of the poll was on Denver, which worries me a little bit because I feel like everybody's betting the Nuggets. Not that scares me off my bet or anything, but it's definitely not what I'd love to see.
Everybody bet the Mavericks yesterday.
Oh, I know. Except me. I was the only person on and then someone commented, goes, Kyle, I told everybody to bet the Mavericks. Like, dude, everyone was betting the Mavericks, whether you said shit or not. I guarantee you. You didn't tell anyone shit. I told everyone. Like, dude, like 86% of the tickets were on Dallas. You didn't tell everyone to bet the Mavericks. Nuggets money line gets in. And then one more poll here. We'll do second place finishers. We got Cavs minus 10.5. Knicks minus 13.5 and Pacers money line. Those are the finalists here. Cavs minus 10.5. Knicks minus 13.5. Pacers money line. I think of those three, I would like to see Cleveland or the Knicks. I kind of like the Bulls. I think we just saw these two teams play in Indiana, and the Bulls played them tough all the way down to the end. I think they won in overtime, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Bulls could beat Indiana. And it's not like this Pacers team isn't a team that we've seen. They have a floor. They have a low floor. They have a high ceiling, but they have a low floor, the Pacers, and I think the Bulls can beat them. So, good news. Nobody's voting for the Pacers. Looks like everyone's voting for Knicks.
It says screw the Cavaliers, too.
Yep. There's some people voting for Cleveland.
They're just saying hell no to the Raptors. That's what.
Well, I mean, in all seriousness, while we were talking about that game, in my head, I bet Toronto team total under, but I was sitting there thinking, like, why am I not laying the 13.5? They should beat the shit out of them. Like, I don't see an angle for a Toronto cover, to be honest, unless the Knicks just cannot hit a shot. It is Knicks. So, Knicks minus 13.5. Let me run this parlay real quick, and we'll get some odds, and then we'll get out of here. I know 12 games. This was a grueling one. And we got Magic money line. We got Lakers money line. We got Nuggets money line. That'll be at the bottom. And we got Knicks minus 13.5. Plus 492. There's our community parlay. Plus 492. Magic money line, Lakers money line, Nuggets money line, Knicks minus 13.5. I forgot. Make sure you follow these guys. We appreciate them taking the time to come on. Rob Vino Sports under his name right there. Your stuff is on Wager Talk, right, Rob Vino?
It is, Kyle. Yep. Wagertalk.com.
Yep. So, yeah, check out Rob Vino stuff. You guys probably already know where to find Ski, but he does his show at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, right before mine. So 2.5 hours before mine. I'm usually in there in the comments, and you'll see a lot of familiar names in the comments on his. So you'll see like names that you see here. So check his YouTube channel out, and that's his Twitter underneath his name too, at Ski Profit. So thanks for joining, guys. Let's have ourselves a good one. The NBA is kind of weird right now, but hopefully I can string together a green night. I could use it, man. Remember to bet responsibly today, and so tomorrow, real quick. So 10:30 a.m. MLB opening day. We're doing the MLB live stream. I'm just the host. I can't handicap NBA and MLB. So I'm just hosting. The other guys will have bets for you, and I'm just tailing and hosting and having fun. And then at 4 p.m., Sweet 16 March Madness show. So that's my schedule for tomorrow. Everyone, talk to you later.